Hello everybody, and welcome back once again to Gazagoji YT. And before we move on to the main topic of this video, by the time I'm making this video, you only have one day left to submit to my hybrid contest by the name of the Great Hybrid War 1.1. So in case you haven't submitted yet, I highly suggest that you hurry up. But anyways, moving on to the main topic of this video, which I originally wasn't planning to make, only after an unfortunate incident that happened to me, which I will not be mentioning. Today, I will be making a hybrid to Rodan's Guy Beast Hunters Hybrid Contest. A hybrid contest that's arguably lesser known than the Hybrid War Battle of Ruin and the Tides of War by Metro Genetics and Master Dragon respectively here on YouTube. So let me give you a little lead on the rules of this contest. Rule number 1. Your hybrid's genome cannot exceed 15 genetic contributors. Rule number 2. You must include which biome you want your hybrid to be in. Rule number 3. No posts, videos only. Rule number 4. Your hybrid must be under 5 tons and over 1 ton. Rule number 5. You must say how your hybrid fights in the video. Rule number 6. Please tag Rodan Guy in your video so that he can see it. Rule number 7. Land and semi-aquatic hybrids only. Rule number 8. Your hybrid must be a newly made one. No pre-made hybrids. Rule number 9. No genetic contributors that will immediately hack your hybrid. Rule number 10. You can make one submission only, not counting for 2.0s, to your first submission so that you can get it right in the first time. And rule number 0, and arguably the most important one, have fun and make original hybrids. As for how the actual contest will roll out, it's pretty much the same as Baku's Hybrid Battle Royale, but at a larger scale, with 4 biomes to choose from, that being the savanna, grasslands, wetlands, and jungle biomes. For my hybrid, I will be choosing the grasslands biome, considering that it provides enough space, food, and optimal climate conditions for my hybrid to thrive in. Basically, hybrids across these 4 biomes will fight each other until only one from each biome stays standing, and in the end, these 4 surviving hybrids will fight against each other until the only survivor comes out on top and wins the contest. Now that we've cleared out all of the details, it's time to move on to our hybrid's genome. So without further ado, let's begin. The first genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the Indian gaur. This will be my hybrid's base genome. Considering that it is the largest modern day species of bovine, this thing is an absolute hunk of beef, with an incredibly muscular yet surprisingly mobile frame and a large domed skull equipped with 2 45-inch curved horns. Indian gaurs are capable of tackling some bears, Bengal tigers, and even black rhinos with little to no issue, speaking volumes of just how powerful these guys can get. The second genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Bison latifrons, the largest bovid of all time, which, as you could have guessed, will be used to increase my hybrid's size, allowing him to reach 2 tons in mass. Not too big to where it would become too slow and sluggish, but not too small to where it would become absolutely defenseless against the 5-ton Goliaths it could go up against, especially with reinforcements to the musculoskeletal composition, granting my hybrid an even stronger skeletal frame, as well as a more muscular body. With its forelimb anatomy, including an incredibly robust scapula and humerus, allowing my hybrid to make very sharp turns, charge with extra speed, as well as effectively lift its neck and head, especially with an even stronger neck vertebrae, as well as influences to the horns, which include their position along the skull, as well as their size. The third genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Nasutoceratops titusi, which will be used to influence my hybrid's horn orientation as well as its composition, granting my hybrid much stronger horns which are better suited for goring and charging, all while remaining decently vascularized for thermoregulation, not to mention its ball socket joint at the level of the neck for granting my hybrid extra head flexibility despite its stiff neck. The fourth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the Scocarex shiji, which will heavily fortify my hybrid's neck vertebrae alongside the raised neural spines of Bison latifrons, in addition to providing its head dome to further fortify the domed skull of the Indian gaur, granting my hybrid an additional head weapon in the case that the horns don't make contact with the target. The fifth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Mylodon darwini, which will provide its subdermal armor comprised of small osteoderms embedded deep within the skin for an added layer of defense, in addition to its low-frequency hearing for allowing my hybrid to detect threats from far away. The sixth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the blue wildebeest. Moving on to the Xen genetic additives, this master of stamina and endurance will provide its complex nasal passages, selective brain cooling, energy-efficient muscle fibers, sweat glands, and increased mitochondrial density, for granting my hybrid the ability to stay in the heat of combat for extended periods of time without tiring out. The seventh genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the Maasai giraffe. The largest species of giraffe will provide many adaptations for defense and thermoregulation, starting with its sealable nostrils and long eyelashes, which protect the hybrid's nose and eyes from harmful substances, in addition to its lips, mouth padding, tongue, and sticky saliva, which all work together to allow my hybrid to bite down safely on quilled opponents if the situation calls for it, in addition to its highly vascularized skin for allowing my hybrid to dissipate heat more easily and efficiently, and lastly, its hind limb structure, allowing my hybrid to charge with extra speed and grant him an additional weapon in the form of devastating kicks for protecting its hindquarters. The eighth genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the white rhinoceros, which will further fortify my hybrid's scapula and femur for further strengthening my hybrid's limbs in terms of both weight support and mobility, in addition to an insanely thick skin that's very hard to penetrate as the primary layer of defense, and lastly, a minor boost to my hybrid's sense of smell for better detecting threats from far away. The last genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the Virginia opossum, which, as you could have guessed, is utilized for its highly potent immune system and LTNF, or the lethal toxin neutralizing factor for short, granting my hybrid an insane immunity to toxins and diseases. Now that the genome has been fully explained, it's time for me to introduce my submission to Rodan Guy's hybrid contest. Toros Aureus Super, name meaning the Golden Super Bowl, codenamed Lamborghini. Height, 2.5 meters or 8.2 feet. Length, 4.7 meters or 15.6 feet. And weight, 2 tons. Now, before I get to the combat style, I have 2 notes to mention. The first note being that the horns should be a bit longer in the drawing, it's just that I ran out of drawing space. And 2, you might not notice the eyes, but that's because they are covered by the horns. So just so you know, it does have eyes, it's not blind. Now let's move on to his combat style. Starting off with the basics, my hybrid's powerful senses of hearing and smell allow him to detect any opponent that tries to ambush him from far away, making any attempt at surprise attacking my hybrid nearly obsolete. As for the body, despite weighing in at only 2 tons, Lamborghini is still very bulky, highly muscular, and well armored to where he can endure a lot of punishment before going down, especially with tremendous amounts of stamina that allow him to stay in the fight for extended periods of time without tiring out. As for his weaponry, he primarily relies on a large set of horns, with his surprising speed and agility and ball socket joint at the level of the neck from Nazutoceratops, allowing him to keep his opponents within the range of those horns at all times. These can be used to stab, gore, and impale opponents, especially when charging, as during a charge, Lamborghini's high speed enables him to put momentum behind these sharp tips of those horns, penetrating through thick layers of muscle and armor upon impact, and generating a shockwave so powerful it can obliterate the vital organs of any opponent, big or small, causing lethal injury right off the bat. But these are not my hybrid's only weapons, as his cranial dome from Discocaryx act as anti-horn weapons, relying on blunt force trauma to crack the horns of other horned hybrids, his jaws, which are really last resort weapons if things get messy, and his bone-cracking kicks for protecting the backside by incapacitating smaller, more nimble foes long enough for Lamborghini to turn around and finish them off with a deadly horn jab. And with that, we conclude this video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and be sure to tune in next time when we actually get into the Great Hybrid War 1.1. So until then, goodbye.